Welcome and thank you so much for being with us today. My name is Maheen and I'm going to be your MC for our program. This day means a lot to me because me and my family have been a part of the Kovler Center since I was the age of 13. I remember coming to the United States as a young girl and not knowing what the future entails. As years passed by, the staff of the Kovler Center became family to me. And as a torture survivor, I'm grateful for everyone at the Kovler Center who has seen me grow through all these years, from being a little girl to a young adult, from graduating high school to now in graduate school, wanting to be an aspiring occupational therapist, just like Mary Black. She was my inspiration. I'm thankful for everything the Kovler Center has done to me, done for me and my family, and I'm honored to be the MC for today's program. So please stay with us, enjoy the virtual event. Before beginning our event, I would like to go over a few housekeeping rules and recommendations. First, for those who are seeing many squares, please go to the top of your screen and press speaker view. We anticipate that this event will last for at least 45 minutes to 1 hour. Please maintain your camera turned off and your microphone muted. Please, before closing, we will have a candle lighting ceremony in which I will invite everyone to participate by turning on their cameras and mics. Please only turn on your camera if you feel comfortable. The event is being recorded. If you have not already, please take a moment to grab a candle or a match or a lighter and keep them nearby for the final lighting ceremony. When you light your candle later in the program, let's all practice safety by never leaving the flame unattended and extinguishing at the end of the ceremony. You can also use the light of your phone if you are most comfortable with that and you don't have a candle. If you have any questions or would like to comment about something else, please type it in the message which is below. One of our moderators will respond to you as needed. Finally, we ask for your patience during this presentation as it is the first time we're commemorating June 26th virtually at the Marjorie Kovler Center. Thank you. And now I would like to present the Director of United States Programs, Mario Gonzalez.
Good afternoon. My name is Mario Gonzalez, and I am the Director of U.S. Programming for Heartland Alliance International. I'm the Director of the Marjorie Kovler Center in Chicago. I am so glad that you are here to join our annual gathering in support of victims of torture. It is so important that we take time out of our busy schedules to be together and both share and remember. In 1997, the United Nations declared June 26 as the International Day in support of victims of torture. We at the Kovler Center have been celebrating the day ever since. This day is an opportunity to call on individuals everywhere to unite in support of the hundreds of thousands of people around the world who have been victims of torture and those who are still tortured. Today, the Kovler Center rekindled the candle of our commitment to survivors of torture and promises to serve our participants with strength and solidarity, now more than ever. In the middle of a global pandemic and the Black Lives Matter movement, we have a duty to support and lift each other up. I hope that Kovler Center serves as a safe place and a loving place for all of you, and do you live today living inspired and reminded of this community that we have all built together. I want to thank and acknowledge the important support of our dedicated staff, volunteers, supporters, donors, and friends for their unconditional and tireless efforts to assist in the healing process of survivors that we serve, and for making this commemoration possible. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. Before I close, I would like to leave you with a quote from a South American writer, Eduardo Galeano. This quote says, "Solidarity, not charity." He said, "I don't believe in charity, believe in solidarity. Charity is so vertical. It goes from the top to the bottom. Solidarity is horizontal. It respects the other person. I have a lot to learn from other people." And now I have the pleasure of introducing a dedicated friend of the Kovler Center, Josefina, who is from Guatemala. Josefina is sharing a Mayan blessing in her language. Mayan Mam, that's her language. This is from the Ruby Garden. The essence of the prayer acknowledges Mother Earth for all her blessings and guidance, particularly to keep us healthy during the pandemic and to promote love between people of all races during these turbulent times. Thank you. Gracias.
Aya mamba, aya han khatsak makir, makuuli kan te te salong, olchon te te yak chuchot, olchon te te yak makir, mat khatsak makir lehal. Aya mamba, aya shku onte aho le shtutzot le shku universo le shichewa tutzka. Machuya olchon te te tek mukhal, malo holo tzkanik kwal. Ik speel ook zo'n ontschonte tegen het trot lezen voor zeggen. Zeggen voor doen skinny tegen het trot. Kan gaat zij het mankeer, kan ontschonte tegen. Ik ga gewoon in kosa het mankeer. Die is dat die haar consciëntie is net. Ik speel ook gaat zij het mankeer. Ik speel ook gewoon dat het na je kwaai ook te zien, porque ook gewoon het weer te zien kwaai niet achar. Het is gewoon Ik speel eigenlijk te trots dan echt zegt schouwen kushista. Schouwen kushis kchuinkla en dat kon ik schou kushis ta on ena te trots maket ona chewa. Maket ona kmang. Maket ona chewa maket ona chikit maket ona trots maket ona look ak. Ik zeg gewoon het honderd tegen. Ik speel ook die bago gaan behak. Onze paz, onze nakbil, ik speel ook hakutaya, de bio oog, onze ooglali, ik speel hakutaya wia, onze ako, wap, wali, miali. Ayak tot, ayamamba, kekane ik ke okchmang matbach tot. Epelo okchmane holo, echo ke onke tot. Gewoon de systeem moet het onafhankelijk zijn. Maar ook mensen kijken, niet onafhankelijk. Maar gewoon protesteren is zo. Na Congo ook schoolons het onafhankelijk. Haku op stena yetiba. Want zo het koogla lichaam op school. Toch chak schoolor het kwalia. De hoek de café, de sakha, de chakuna. Mambach. Auslese und het koogla lichaam gewoon leer kosje ekskele gewoon leer sla gewoon de gewoon zeker kain. Auslese het koogla lichaam gewoon school het paciencia tiempo tu holo tu kokabien kibe te kibe. Amen.
Hi everyone, my name is Mary Ann Joyce. I'm the manager of support services at the Kovler Center. One of my favorite job activities is to meet the volunteers who form the backbone of our program. Volunteers help us to maximize our ability to respond to survivor needs and sustain this healing community. Kovler volunteers often see a need before we do and step in to assist before we even ask. This year, we'd like to highlight a few outstanding volunteers who have stepped up in ways that go beyond what we could ever hope for. First, I'd like to introduce Josh Mark. Josh has been a dedicated volunteer for the last 3 years. His narrative therapy approach I'm sorry, I think I was unmuted. I was muted. He's quite passionate about bikes, so naturally Josh forged a connection between Kovler Center and the Recyclery Collective in Rogers Park to get bikes into the hands and feet of our participants. Josh will make sure they have a lock and helmet. If needed, he'll provide a lesson on how to ride a bike. And also if needed, he'll fix a flat tire. When the COVID crisis began, he continued his role as a therapist and added deliveries to his services. Every week since, he organizes a delivery day to get critical items to people, like groceries, gift cards, bicycles, and activity boxes for families with children. Thank you, Josh. We're so grateful for the many ways you support torture survivors. I'd like you to meet Beatrice Platet. Beatrice is a new volunteer French interpreter. In February, we were trying to find a way for her to assist, but within her full-time work schedule. This is always a challenge. Then a month later, the shutdown started. She immediately reached out to Kovler and adjusted her schedule to be available on Zoom or telephone for the outcomes interviews that Marty Hill oversees. Beatrice plays an essential role interpreting for our French-speaking clients who are due for follow-up readministrations. Since Beatrice started collaborating with Marty, listen to this, the success rate in recruiting our clients to participate rose to almost 100%. So Marty is ever grateful, and we all are. The Kovler clients appreciate working with her as she has accommodated their schedules, even if it means working evenings or weekends. It's just an understatement to say that Beatrice has improved our ability to evaluate our treatment program. And most importantly, she has offered a meaningful connection to Kovler clients during this pandemic crisis. Merci, Beatrice. Thank you. The next two volunteers are lawyers. Jovana Valdez and Laura Villam are both partners in the immigration law firm Valdez, Villam, and One Row. Jovana and Laura are essential advocates for survivors of torture. They provide high-quality pro bono representation to a number of Kovler participants in the process of applying for asylum. In particular, they have accepted cases that were legally complicated and rejected by other pro bono resources. We at Kovler Center know that asylum cases can be a constant worry for applicants until the case is finally granted. The trust between a survivor and her lawyer is critical to feeling hopeful, and we've seen how lawyers who are flexible and kind create strong bonds with their clients. Jovana and Laura both show their kindness, warmth, and passion while providing the zealous advocacy needed. The Kovler Center thanks Jovana and Laura for their tireless efforts to advocate for survivors of torture. And we thank every one of our volunteers who are on this meeting or not, who truly make it all possible for Kovler Center. Finally, we'd like to give a special thanks to one of our staff members, also a former volunteer, Marie Schibeck. Marie has a long history as a human rights activist. About 10 years ago, while she was living in a local Catholic worker community, Marie started a partnership with Kovler Center to help survivors with temporary housing needs. So you can imagine how welcome that was. We really took notice. Marie then decided to join our volunteer network. As a fluent French speaker, she became a volunteer French interpreter extraordinaire while completing a master's degree at DePaul. She joined our staff in 2014 as a case manager and later a senior case manager. Marie really knows how to get things done. People who know her know this about her. She's just recently completed her second master's degree, this one in clinical social work at the University of Chicago. Marie will be leaving soon, and it's difficult to imagine Kovler Center without her. Anyone who knows Marie knows she is passionate about advancing social justice, not only advocating with individuals, but with countless local and national organizations. We are so grateful for Marie's long tenure at Kovler Center and her expanding leadership role. Though we are saddened to say goodbye, we wish her great joy and many rewards as she continues her personal and professional goals on the social justice road.
Hi, I just wanted to say a little note about leaving in July. I'm very sad to go and I'm going to miss all of you. And I just want to say that I'm just so grateful for my time here and for everything that I've learned from you, and that and just how important it has been for me to be able to be here and accompany you all through the various medical, legal, family, all the different things that we've talked about and done together. And I'm so grateful. And I'm going to miss you. Oui, donc je voulais juste dire un petit mot. Comme je vais partir en juillet, je vais quitter Kovler, mais je voulais juste exprimer à quel point je suis reconnaissante de vous avoir tous connus, d'avoir pu vous accompagner dans la grande variété de travail qu'on a fait ensemble, que ce soit avec les avocats, avec les docteurs, avec toutes les différentes personnes que nous avons travaillé ensemble avec. Et je veux juste dire que j'ai tellement appris de vous et je suis éternellement reconnaissante pour ça. Et j'espère que pouvoir continuer à vous voir pendant les différentes fêtes à Kovler et rester connecté comme ça. So thank you all.
Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Cynthia Langtu. Dr. Langtu has been a gift to Kovler Center for a long time. She walked into our center the year we moved here to Albion Avenue, and she never left our healing community. She's a longstanding volunteer, connected not only to Kovler Center's work, but to the human rights principles we all stand by and defend. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Cynthia Lubin Langtu.
Hello and welcome. I am honored to stand in solidarity with you as we, the Marjorie Kovler Center community, commemorate the United Nations International Day in support of survivors of torture. My name is Cynthia Lubin Langtu. I am a Haitian American clinical psychologist and professor of clinical psychology at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology here in Chicago. I started as a practicum student at Kovler 20 years ago and then continued on as a volunteer therapist. For the last 10 years, I have been honored to serve as a volunteer supervisor for the UIC Counseling Center Kovler Internship Rotation. My parents grew up under the brutal, exploitative regimes of Papa Doc and Baby Doc in Haiti. As a young Filipino boy, my father-in-law ran dangerous secret messages during World War II in the Philippines. My African-American mother-in-law grew up in segregated Jim Crow, Mississippi. They loved their homes. They loved their people. But their complicated relationships with structural violence around them caused them each to seek refuge elsewhere. And so in many ways, my family has been forged by folks seeking refuge from strife in their homeland. Like many of you, they sought an America that promised more. And yet here we find ourselves in a complicated time, in a turbulent America. Globally, we're navigating COVID-19, quarantine, racial, ethnic, and economic health disparities, and anti-Asian racism. And here, in our country of refuge, we are navigating anti-Black racism, police brutality, protests, uprisings, political gaslighting on the macro level, and complicated conversations. I imagine that the pain of this time may bring up past pains and hurts as though they were new. And I think, what does this all mean? How are we to feel? What are we to think? How are we to be? How do we support our children in these complicated times? How do we support our communities? How do we draw support from our communities? How are we to individually and collectively move through this time? Two things have come to mind for me in light of all of this. Ever the sage, author James Baldwin says it best when he writes, "I love America more than any other country in the world. And exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually." Baldwin realized that out of love, I can step out, I can speak up, I can lament, I can support, I can love. The other thing I think about is an article and concept that has grounded me in these past months. In Arundhati Roy's article, "The Pandemic is a Portal," she asks us to imagine that this time is a portal between one world and the next. I think of it as a strange tunnel where time, feelings, experience, all is relative. She writes, "Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our data banks, dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it." As part of me wants to scurry past the challenges of this time, Roy's words offer me the pause my soul needs. The opportunity to observe the hot walls of this crucible with curiosity, to not rush through it, but to notice, feel deeply, and learn. And then to be clear and intentional in envisioning how I will be on the other side, what I'll carry with me. And there will be another side. How will you be? Who will you be? How will we be? What will you carry with you? What will we carry? What will you fight for? What will we fight for? In these turbulent times, so much is uncertain. But at the Marjorie Kovler Center, of this, we are sure. We are sure of the resilience, courage, and creativity we witness in you, you who have already survived the unimaginable. We honor how you are calling upon all that you have come to know to help you move through this time. And you will, as you already have. We invite the whole Kovler community to continue to support survivors as they make meaning of these movements and as they make this country their own. I am wishing the entire Kovler family hope, clarity, and deep connection as we move through this turbulent time together, hand in hand.
Thank you, Cynthia, for such a thoughtful and timely reflection, for offering a message of hope, for your meaningful words that will stay with us forever. That was a heartwarming message. Thank you so much. Next, we would like to share a short video. Though we are keeping distance for safety, these images remind us of positive times together, and we are together in spirit. This video montage was produced by a friend of Kovler, Alexander Hawken. The accompanying music is composed and sung by a former Kovler case manager, Sarah Van Heck. Let's enjoy now together.
Give up the words that you say. Always be brave, courageous and strong, and never give up. Give up the soul of your song, 'cause hearts are fragile, but love is strong. And we're all broken people, so love anyway. Love every day. Soak up the sun, the wind and the breeze, and never forget the hope that you see. Always strive for peace and bliss, and never forget your happiness, 'cause hearts are fragile, but love is strong. And we're all broken people, so love in any way. Love every day.
All right, wasn't that an amazing contribution? Thank you to Alex and Sarah for keeping us connected. We are now moving on to our annual June 26th tradition of lighting off candles. Again, please be ready with a candle, lighter, or even a light on your phone if you have it near you. Now I would like to introduce Mario Banegas and Martine Songasonga together. They will lead us in the candle ceremony. And please remember, we will have a closing video from staff following the candles. Thank you so much for your participation and being here with us tonight.
My name is Martine Songasonga. I am a clinician at Kovler Center. Thank you all for participating in this gathering. Your participation gives meaning to the fact that we will never accept indifference to the plight of our brothers and sisters around the world. Torture has been practiced and continues to be practiced in more than 140 countries. This is a moment of remembrance of those who lost their lives to torture. Traditionally, we stand in a circle and light a candle to honor those who lost their lives. Today, we come together in the same spirit. I would like to invite you to light your candle or turn on your flash now. And one by one, please voluntarily call out the name of someone you know that has been tortured, murdered, or has disappeared, and mention the country of origin. After that, we will all say present. Please feel free to use whatever language you prefer. I am going to say shortly the same thing in French. Je voudrais inviter chacun ici présent à allumer une bougie et à défaut de la bougie, à utiliser la lumière ou la torche de son téléphone. À tour de rôle, s'il vous plaît, et volontairement, dites le nom de quelqu'un que vous connaissez qui a été victime de torture ou tué ou porté disparu et mentionnez le nom du pays. Après, ensemble, nous dirons présent. S'il vous plaît, vous pouvez utiliser la langue de votre choix. Thank you. Merci. I will have Mario explain the meaning of candle lighting. Thanks.
Thank you, Martine. I am Mario Banegas, survivor of torture and member of CAC at Kovler Center. I would like to still say a little bit about what we think about this candle lighting. The ritual of lighting a candle to pay tribute to a life past has been for many years in many cultures, part of those culture. Keeping a light burning in remembrance, significant that the memory still lives and burned bright. The candle lighting means a lot, means also a brilliant future, bright future, a hope, a second life, succeed life. A candle lighting ceremony also means unity and solidarity, what we really need today. When we all get together, people of different nationality, religions, faith, culture, skin color, sexual orientation, social class, and even sometimes with different political ideas. So it's important that we come back to Martine to start this ceremony, naming the person, the country, and always you have someone that know, as Martine said, that has been tortured, disappeared, murdered, and today is the time that we can remember them. So go ahead, Martine, you can start.
Thank you, Mario. Let us begin. The Democratic Republic of Congo, my home country, where children are tormented with loss of their liberty and life potential. Present.
Presente.
Presente.
Now, I would like to say before something also in Spanish that I forgot. Encender velas en la ceremonia es muy importante porque significa unidad y solidaridad cuando estamos todos juntos. Diferentes personas piensan distinto, tienen nacionalidad distinta, religiones distintas, fe, cultura distinta, color distinto de la piel, una diferente de orientación sexual, diferente clase social, clases sociales, y también, como decíamos, diferentes formas de opinión política. Pero ahora voy a decir también que yo presento hoy día a los miles de personas que fueron torturadas, asesinadas y también hechas desaparecer en Chile. Like to thousands of people that were tortured, murdered, and made disappear in Chile, and in particular to our former president, Salvador Allende. Presente.
Presente.
So now's the time that anyone in the audience would like to express their remembrance to any person that they know and the country where they belong to.
I'm going to start. Rafa and the 40,000 disappeared and tortured people in my country, Guatemala. Presente.
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 Going to continue. This is Nora. I'm going to speak up for the 100,000 or more Rohingya who have been tortured, victims of genocide, have been disappeared, have been killed in Myanmar, Burma.
Presente.
Someone would like to mention a name and the country?
Berta Cáceres de Honduras.
Presente.
Los estudiantes de Ayotzinapa.
Presente.
Presente.
I'd like to talk about George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Tamir Rice, Eric Green, Philon Castillo, and the many more people who were victims of brutality in our Jim Crow country.
Presente.
From Guatemala, Glenda and Rosada, 11 years old and 9 years old, daughters of Adriano Barto.
Presente.
Presente.
Sandra Bland, USA. Presente.
Presente.
Irene Martínez de Argentina. Presente.
Presente.
Tigist from Ethiopia.
Presente.
Albanians from Kosovo tortured and killed in genocide of 1999 from Serbian regime.
Presente.
Presente.
Yeah. I would like to tell all tortures by the police here in Chicago. Presente.
For all our brothers and sisters in Cameroon due to persecution.
Presente.
Imad from Syria. Presente.
Presente.
For all the children in Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Presente.
Pour toutes les victimes de torture au Togo dans la lutte pour la démocratisation présente.
For Palestine.
Presente.
For all the people in Iraq, presente.
Presente. To all the people that were tortured, made disappear, and killed in Argentina. Presente.
For all the journalists killed in Mexico and the indigenous workers as well in Latin America.
Presente.
For all the immigrants in detention who have disappeared or been tortured. Presente.
Presente.
For our brothers and sisters in Togo who have suffered over so many years.
Presente.
For all the survivors and asylum seekers who are here in the U.S., may our country serve them well, because it's been a challenge. So, providing strength.
All people were killed in my country, Congo, Brazzaville. In particular, my colleague.
Presente.
For those who have want to speak up for them when they're alone in their plight, presente.
Presente. For all the people in Yemen who are going through all the tortures and are facing all the problems up there. So, presente.
Presente.
Okay, I think that we all will have the opportunity to say something. If someone else will say something there, to mention someone in the country.
Well, voy a decir presente los bolivianos, los peruanos, los colombianos, los brasileros, todo Sudamérica, pues, todos los torturados y desaparecidos del Plan Cóndor. Y seguimos para arriba y saltamos hacia todos otros lados. Así que de todos lados, presente.
Presente.
Por todas las familias desaparecidas durante el conflicto armado en Guatemala. Presente.
For all the girls and women that have been raped and murdered around the world, presente.
Para toda la gente que ha muerto por la guerra, por todos los torturados también, desaparecidos durante la guerra en Guatemala y en mi municipio, Concepción, Chiquirichapa.
Presente.
Presente.
The people that they kill in Sudan by the government in Darfur.
Presente. Por todos los torturados en Chile, jóvenes, especialmente en las últimas revueltas sociales que hubo allá, que todavía está viendo. Presente.
Para todas las víctimas de El Salvador, presente.
okay, I think we can give thanks to the Kovler Center for this event that has allowing us to get together, to think together, to remember our parents or whoever you mentioned are presente. We have been able to do that together. And so I would like to say a big warm greeting to survivors here in the US, in our countries, and also all over the world in this important day that we remember all the survivors according to the International Day to Support Survivors from United Nations. Thank you so much. And I think that we will be now hearing some greetings from some Kovler staff. Again, thank you for this the candle lighting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it is especially important today that we are able to link with programs and with people throughout the world in opposition to all forms of political persecution and oppression, and struggling in support of human rights, equal justice, and a more humane and compassionate world so badly needed in these times. Inshallah.
Gracias por estar con nosotros el día de hoy. Siento muy agradecido por todos ustedes. Juntos, ustedes contribuyen muchísimo a la comunidad especial desde el Centro Kovler. Estaremos en contacto y esperamos verles pronto.
Bonjour, je voudrais dire merci aux participants chez Kovler. C'est à cause de vous, vous avez créé notre communauté ici chez Kovler et c'est quelque chose que j'apprécie beaucoup. Merci. Je pense à vous et j'espère qu'on se verra bientôt face à face, peut-être en automne. Merci et au revoir. Bye bye.
Thank you for attending this annual important event which exists in your honor. I really appreciate your presence and hope you enjoy the celebration. We look forward to seeing you at the next June 26th event.
Everyone, how are you? We really miss you and hope everybody is keeping safe and sound. And when it's safe for us to meet again, we really look forward to it. Until then, be well and take care. Thank you. Merci. Gracias. Fala. Falamindere. Mamasaganalu. Sukurin and Marakosi Chanit.
Today's gathering demonstrates the power and resilience of the human spirit. Thank you for joining us to recognize and honor victims of torture and to help unite our voices against these injustices.
Bonjour tout le monde et merci à tous d'être venus pour célébrer cette journée internationale en soutien pour les survivants de torture. On est tellement heureux que vous êtes là avec nous à Chicago cette année. Merci.
Hola, un saludo a todos. Quiero agradecerles que hayan venido y participado con nosotros. Estamos aquí para servirles y ayudarles en lo que sea posible. Es un gusto estar en esta conmemoración del Día Internacional del Sobreviviente de Tortura. Muchas gracias.
Greetings everyone from Heartland Alliance International. We know that today is a day that honors you. It marks your journey, your power, and your resilience as survivors of torture. We at Heartland Alliance stand behind you and beside you in our tireless effort to end torture around the world. We thank you.